Big Mother Truckers! Sometimes you can just look at a game and tell that it's going to suck, with one of the most unappealing, butt-ugly box arts I've ever seen, and a stupid-ass trying-too-hard title. But whatever, I could use a softball after an 86-minute movie review that took 80 edits last minute to dodge YouTube's copyright algorithms! Big Mother Truckers was published by THQ and developed by Technics. Weird, that name sounds familiar. Where have I heard of Technics before? No! This game was made by the same developer as Ride to Hell Retribution. A full 11 years before they shat out one of the most legendarily horrible games of all time. Okay, maybe this won't be so bad. After all, Technics made loads of games besides Ride to Hell, including multiple racing games a year across several platforms at once, which was staggeringly prolific for the time. I'm sure Ride to Hell was a fluke. Their games can't all be bad, right? It's right there in their title card. Specialist driving game development. Well, the only way we'll find out is by playing the game. As soon as it's done loading. I'm not reviewing the hyperscan here. What's the holdup? I have no idea why, but the first time and only the first time that I played the game, it had to stop and load for 2.5 minutes. Like my console was going, do I have to? The game's story is that this old lady owns a trucking company but wants to retire, and she's having her 4 kids compete for it. Whoever raises the most cash in 60 days wins and becomes the new head of the company. And given that you're a trucking company, you naturally make that cash by using big rigs to transport— Holy hell! 11 years before Ride to Hell, and they still couldn't program driving to save a life. How do I describe the controls and the physics engine? It feels like the entire game you're being stalked by a really bored witch who amuses herself by transforming your tires into cement blocks or wheels of butter. You'll be driving along, and every minute or so, at complete random, your controls will either lock up to where you can barely turn and skid off into a wall, or you'll just abruptly wrench a hard 90 degrees, slide several feet like you hit an oil slick, and your trailer whips around the side with no warning. You can never get the feel for how to properly handle your vehicle. No matter what you do, you'll slide or lurch all over oblivion, having done exactly nothing wrong. It almost feels like the ground texture is constantly glitching to forget what terrain you're driving on. Like it'll think you've suddenly gone off-road or hit a huge ice patch when you haven't. A bug that severe would not surprise me. Okay, your truck has 2 gears. Maybe I'm driving too fast, and that's why the controls keep going screwy. There's no time limit to reach my destination, so I'll just try driving in low gear to rein in my speed, and the controls, nope. Driving slower does nothing to change the controls or physics. Sometimes your controls will just lock up to where you flat-ass can't make certain turns no matter what you do. Look at this section here, for example. I am slamming on my brakes trying to make the tight turns winding through this road, and slowing down is not improving my turning radius at all. This is like rule number 1 for programming a driving game, right behind hold gas, make go forward. How do you screw that up? Big Mother Trucker's basic driving is like a year-old onion. You keep peeling back layers and all you find are new varieties of rotten. Your massive honkin' truck seems to have about 1/10 of the mass that it's supposed to, so the controls are extra floaty, it'll sporadically have hilarious physics glitches, it often doesn't react to collisions the way it's supposed to, and one chunk of the map has a series of hills that you just completely fly over. You can tell they had zero idea how to program the physics of your truck's trailer, so they settled for programming the damn thing like a pendulum. Literally all of the trailer's weight is in the very back and the rest just has no mass, so it swerves back and forth constantly just trying to drive a straight line. And loads of turns it just wails completely around you like a drunken hammer, slamming into everything in sight and causing you tons of damage. And every time you try to drive in reverse, you can pretty much bet money that the trailer will get stuck in the ground and not turn correctly along with you, only budging when you crash into your own load to physically push it out of the way of you trying to back up. Sometimes your truck can plow through other cars with ease. Sometimes a minor collision will knock you, I'm not joking, a full 360 degrees. He's attempting the Big Rig's 360 turn with no ramp to use as a ramp for airtime. High degree of difficulty.
Hurry up!
And he sticks the landing! I just don't get it. You Technics made basically nothing but driving games for years. They advertise on their damn production logo that they specialize in driving games. How do you get years of practice in driving games and still fail at every single fundamental element of making a driving game? Big Rigs controls better than this, and it doesn't even have a physics engine! Look, the game does have a litany of other problems besides just the driving, but I cannot stress enough just how unwieldy and flat-ass uncontrollable the driving in this game is. The basic controls are borderline randomized, and the physics are vague suggestions. No matter what follows, you are grappling with 80 tons of bullshit every damn second that you play. And it's crucial that you understand that. This game plays like trash. Anyway, the game map has 5 locations. Each in-game day consists of you driving to a location of your choice to buy and sell goods at its local store. The prices of different products fluctuate from site to site, so the general idea is to buy a specific good from somewhere that it's cheap, go somewhere that same product is expensive, and sell it for a huge profit. And you pick up tips from local bars at each location telling you where to sell certain products to get those big bucks. It's a really basic economic system, and it barely works. The bars only give you advice for one product at a time, whether you can get it cheap there or not. Day 3, I get a tip telling me to buy coal, except coal is marked up here. They want to charge me through the nose to where I won't turn a profit on it. The one hint that the game gave me is completely useless, so I'm left with no option but to buy something else and just hope that whatever random place I sell it to will give me a good deal. And as the game goes on, you unlock more expensive goods to ship so that you make more profit off of each trip, but the bars will keep giving you tips for the starter crap that barely gets you any money. Odds are good that any given hint is going to be completely useless, so your only option is to save at every single stop, buy whatever's cheap, blind guess where to sell it, and reload a save and repeat the day if you guess the wrong destination. You have to keep replaying days and padding the game out, not because you messed up in some way, but because the game screws you on sheer luck. You're pretty much meant to keep a pen and paper alongside the game at all times to not only jot down all the hints, but also to note general prices at every stop, because the in-game economies will almost never budge. Ah yes, games that require you to take your own notes, the vast living open world of Elden Ring, the befuddling puzzles and mystery of Ripper, the grand exploration and expansive lands of Zelda, and Big Mother Truckers. Also, bars will regularly give you advice for goods that don't actually appear in the store, and I was near the end of the game before I figured out why. It turns out the stores have not one, but 2 completely unmarked hidden secret menus of other shit that you can trade by swapping out your trailer in the garage for no real reason or prompting. I found this out on pure accident because the whole system of having 3 different types of goods that you can transport is the first of many mechanics that the game never tells you. So yeah, this is the entire game. Buy a shipment, drive to a location to sell it, hopefully for a profit if you're lucky, refuel and repair your truck, and then do it again. And you repeat this exact process for 60 friggin' levels. The game world is not that big, and the map has such bland, flat designs that it quickly starts to feel like you're just driving the same course over and over and over again. And often, you are. There is more variety, action, skill, and scenery in one individual course in Mario Kart than there is in the entire map of Big Mother Truckers, and you're effectively driving this one slow, boring-ass rock basic map 60 times! The funny thing is, the back of the game's box tells you that there are only 6 days in the game. I'm not convinced that's a typo. It seems like they added about 6 levels worth of content and then hit the copy-paste keys until they broke off. The only hazards that crop up during a drive are bikers and cop cars. Graze either one of them, which almost always happens on pure accident, and it starts up a chase that ends when you've taken out all your pursuers. Bikers are piss easy to handle because you just wait for them to climb onto your trailer and then bump a wall to knock them off. And if the bikers somehow are causing you a nuisance, I stumbled across a top-secret strategy to defeat them. Come to a dead stop! The bikers are coded so abysmally that they forget how to raid a stationary vehicle. So if you park it and drive in little circles, you can knock down all their bikes at your leisure and move on. I'm not joking, this happened more than once! Cops are a little trickier because they take more hits to bring down, and if the controls futz up once and you get stuck, you get arrested and lose a day off the campaign. Oh, wait, that's it? You didn't even confiscate my cargo and you got me a day closer to being done with this crap? I should get arrested more often. And the cops aren't much smarter than the bikers are, given all the times I caught them bumping into the back of my vehicle to damage themselves. Also, despite how many times the game tells you that the cops are corrupt sons of bitches, they literally only come after you if you crash into them first. You can cause all the horrific multi-car traffic accidents that you want in plain sight of cop cars. They will not give a shit. Because coding basic enemies is just hard. In fact, if you crash into several cars on the road at a time, you get free money, and big enough combos will get you free gas or health pickups. But trust me, sporadic, brief demolition derbies and 2 flavors of piss-easy enemies are the only actual mechanics holding your interest through this torturous slog. After you've gotten a few days to settle into the gameplay, as much as you can anyway, rival truckers will start challenging you to races for money every damn day of the campaign. I tried a few of these races, and I lost all of them. See, the AI drives the course absolutely perfectly, and starting mid-game the trucks are just as fast as yours, and there is absolutely zero catch-up mechanic of any kind. If you don't take an early lead and keep it, you lose instantly. If the hideously broken controls screw up and you get stuck even a little bit, you lose instantly. And a good chunk of the destinations end on requiring you to make a hard 90-degree turn on virtually no notice, so until you've memorized this entire rinky-dink map, you will either have to slam the brakes to make the turn, or you will pass it and spend an hour trying to turn back around, effectively meaning that no matter what you do, the AI is going to swipe the win at the last second anyway. Your controls and physics are akin to riding a mechanical bull that will chuck you into a wall at a moment's notice, and you're expected to race tons of AIs on equal ground. Yeah, maybe make sure that you can competently program basic driving before you stretch into racing, dumbasses! When your logo said Specialist Driving Game Development, you didn't mean Ralph Wiggum Special, did you? Oh, and there's supposed to be an evil trucker out in the game world. You see him for like a second in the opening cutscene and see passing vague references to him if you pay really close attention to the bottom of the screen. But I never ran into him once, and I'm not even sure if you can. I legit have no idea what this guy's deal is or why he even exists. The truck has a radio that you can listen to while you drag your ass from site to site, and I didn't know that you can push the right stick to change between 4 or 5 radio stations, because the game itself doesn't tell you, and the control layout is hidden in a submenu behind the options. So I spent most of the game listening to a shitty talk show that has maybe a half dozen painfully unfunny segments that get recycled endlessly, sporadically interrupted by a whole 2 shitty country songs. Do you think it's friggin' hilarious that rednecks swear a lot? I sure hope so, because a host whose dialogue has to be all bleeped out is the one and only joke that this truckin' radio station hammers in over and over for hours on end!
And we're asking you folks who's maybe got a problem or two to call in and speak to Neighborly Jeff. I reckon she ain't been his yet. Wouldn't be his bitch good.
But hey, if you get sick of the one, "Hey, did you know rednecks are vulgar?" joke, then you can tune over to the talk show channel Yak FM, where every last sketch is, "Hey, did you know rednecks are ungodly misogynist?" Every damn segment on this channel is some hick guy refusing to believe that women have or can get any jobs outside of prostitution, or a female host getting lectured the same by callers. And every last one of these unfunny one-note bits goes on for several minutes at a time. Because do you get it? Do you get the joke? Laugh! We think we're a comedy game! Laugh, damn you! Hell, the game was nice enough to glitch and keep the radio going during a pause menu so you can hear some of this material for yourself.
I'm not married to the mayor. I am the mayor.
Course you are, darling. You just keep thinking that, and it'll all turn out real fine. I got to stop you there, sugar pie. If you's at home, then you ain't working.
See, I can't tell if this is supposed to be a joke or Ride to Hell's author getting in some practice. I get the distinct feeling that this is trying to be a joke game. Oh, whatever could have tipped me off, but no. Big Mother Truckers is not funny. Abysmal physics that make the game an unyielding crapstorm to try and play at all times is not funny. A crappy repetitive radio station with all of 6 bits repeating a single bad joke is not funny. The bartenders and garage mechanics just randomly being a stripper, a gay guy, and a Russian communist is not funny. There is no actual joke in going, "Oh look, a gay man exists." Sporadically breaking up the monotony, bars will sometimes have special missions that you can run for extra cash. My first one was to wreck a few cars. Simple enough. Then destroy 12 newspaper stands. Less simple, since they're tiny as hell, you can barely turn, and it takes half the week to back up. Copy the plot of Speed and transport a bomb somewhere with it ticking down if you drop below 80 miles per hour. Alright, that one's kind of fun. Deliver presents on Mother's Day having to stop in a precise box with breaks that take your orders as more vague suggestions? Less fun. Drive over fire hydrants so the popcorn that you're shipping doesn't pop prematurely? That's good. Even though I almost failed it due to a physics whammy. Transporting crap knockoff TVs where I accidentally bop into a cop car and they keep ramming my truck and smashing the TVs to where one slight mistake is an instant fail? Less good. What kills me is that one of the missions has you destroy advertising billboards for a radio station, and I would have won this damn mission, except there's one bit on the map where you hit a fork in the road that has a 50-50 shot of sending you in the wrong direction long before you know where you need to go. And there's a crapload of walls stopping me from making the correct turn, so I fail the level for going out of bounds, basically missing a coin toss. And several missions utilize this fork to screw with you. And unless you remember to drop a save so that you can reload, you only get one chance at all of these missions. There's also a little mini game at the end of each day where you can try and stop inside a little green box for a parking bonus. But the brakes take about a week to actually work, so good luck with that. And there's also instances where stuff like this happens. Yeah, call it a hunch that I ain't getting that parking bonus. Somewhere around day 50, I start to notice that bikers have begun attacking me on sight, whether I actually hit any of them or not. They'll just materialize and ambush me out of friggin' nowhere, and there's absolutely nothing that I can do to avoid it. I thought maybe it was just the game's difficulty ramping up, but no. Big Mother Truckers has a moral choice system. If you attack bikers and take on missions that the game has arbitrarily designated as legal, you will get good guy points, the cops will leave you alone, and bikers will attack you unprompted. But if you attack cops and take on missions that are marked illegal, with no damn distinction as to which those are, then bikers will like you as a fellow outlaw, and the cops will attack you unprompted. And some trucking how I've got a heroic alignment and all the bikers are pissed off at me. It's another system that the game never explains, and another system that doesn't truckin' work. Cops still attack me if I accidentally bump into them, exactly the same as if I were neutral. So there is literally no benefit to me having this moral alignment, since all I got out of it is a punishment with a group of enemies being more aggressive. How do you mess up the core fundamental paradigm of do quest, get reward? In Star Wars games, you don't work your ass off to become a pure Jedi, and all you get for it is a kick to the balls. Well, maybe you do. The Jedi have weird ideas of relationships. I actually ended up playing this game a second time. We'll get into why later. And on my second attempt, I got the max good guy alignment really early on somehow. And that time, the cops actually ignored me even if I hit them on accident, and it only made the bikers marginally more aggressive. So, depending on where you are in the campaign, the moral system might help you out, or it might do nothing, or it might only be a punishment, because this game is trash. There is a stack of upgrades that you can buy to improve the performance of your truck, but the vast bulk of them do nothing. The only ones that you actually want are to expand your carrying capacity so you can get more cash per delivery, and some armor so you can shake cops without dying. I blew some cash on multiple upgrades to my brakes, and it barely seemed to do crap, which might have something to do with the fact that the store lists that the brake's effect is to reduce damage that you take. The gas upgrades are worthless since you'll never run out as long as you fill up at every stop, and the upgraded car horns that are supposed to repel bikers, they do absolutely nothing. The spoiler that's supposed to improve traction and the vague torque improvements to your truck feels like they do nothing too. There is no escape from the broken physics. I suppose I should try the other tractor types, see if the physics change with either type of load. Well, the refrigerated trailer is perpetually swinging back and forth across the road like a giant Newton's cradle, so no, I don't think the physics change between trailer types. And furthermore, what? When you get bored off your ass with the base game, not if, when, there's also a mission mode, the only other gameplay mode that the game has. Basically, it lets you do the missions that pop up during the campaign anytime that you want, but of course, there's a catch. You have to complete one mission before you're allowed to play the others that come after it, and the third mission in line is pretty much impossible. Mission 3 is a truck tug-of-war where you have to turbo mash the A button, but the closer you get to winning, the faster you have to mash, and to get the enemy over that last inch across the finish line takes mashing A like you're the Flash himself, or it doesn't count. So the one other gameplay mode is just completely broken. Go figure. What the hell? I crashed to do nothing! Nothing! Of course, there I go questioning the physics of a game where motorcycles can overturn cars. So I spent several hours plugging my way through all 60 of the in-game days. I'd reload saves and make certain that every single day I made a good profit off of my shipment. I took every mission that I could find and cleared several of them for big bucks of rewards. I only got busted once, and I never lost my load to bikers. I started shipping big ticket items so that I'd make millions off of a good run, and I racked up a whopping $15 million. I felt good. Well, not good because the game sucks. I felt confident that I was about to win the game. I mean, hey, I've done everything right, haven't I? But there was still one thing in the game that I hadn't tried. Anytime that you want, you can go to the Big Mother Truckers headquarters and talk to Mama. I hadn't been there all game because I didn't want to waste a day traveling there. Come to find out that visiting home does not use up an in-game day. Another thing the game never tells you. But I dropped by home and Mama will show you the standings between siblings competing for the business. I'm tied for last place. Not only am I losing, I'm losing badly. The AI in first place has $37 million, over twice the cash that I have. I blew like 7 hours playing this trash game, reloading saves, starting the game over to recover from a rocky start, doing the best that I could, only to get bitch slapped and told that I suck! At this point, my mind starts racing, trying to figure out what in the hell I missed to lose this hard. Like, what does the game want from me? I realize the game actually does mark on your map where all the other competitors are at all times. Are you supposed to intercept and sabotage the other siblings? I had to test this out for myself, so Lord help me, I started a second playthrough. It turns out you're pretty much expected to visit Mama every single in-game day. Not only does she tell you exactly where to buy or sell for big profits, but she'll also tell you where to go for missions that may or may not only spawn in specific locations on absurdly specific days. Unless you drop everything and make a huge detour to Mama's house every single level, the game will never tell you where missions spawn and you miss out on tons of cash. So the thing that was screwing me over in this monotonous, boring-ass game is that I didn't make it monotonous or boring-ass enough. Being forced to regularly make this extra trip adds hours of empty padding to the game time. All because it's the only way the game relays tons of vital information to you. But whatever. Time to test my hypothesis and use the sat-nav to hunt me down some siblings. Okay, looks like Raucus is headed my way, so I check the sat-nav every few seconds. Yes, he's headed right for me. I can knock his punk ass out and send him tumbling down the leaderboard. Wait, where the hell is he? The sat-nav said that I should be right on top of him. There's no truck anywhere in sight, and it's not exactly a busy road. Where the hell is he? I tried several times to intercept the AI players, and you can't. The game tracks their positions at all times, but their trucks do not actually physically appear in the game world, nor can you interfere with them in any way. So why does the game meticulously track and show you each sibling's location if you can't do a damn thing with the information? I don't know. Results the same, the other siblings are basically just an automated high score table for the end game. So you want to know how you win the game? Get a perfect run. Get a huge profit on every single day's shipment. Those races, not optional. Take on and win every single last race. Ace every mission in the one try that you're given. Keep dragging your ass on detours to Mama to find out where to sell for the best profit and to make sure you never miss a mission. Oh, what's that? You can't visit Mama and do a race on the same day? Then reload saves to do every damn day twice to get the intel and then do the race. Reload as many hundreds of saves as it takes to make sure that every single last one of the game's 60 friggin' days goes absolutely perfectly, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll actually win the game. Or just use the cheat code that starts you out with $10 million. That works too. Or better yet, pitch the game and play something else because the friggin' ride to hell guys do not deserve any benefit of the doubt. Anyway, regardless of how badly you're losing, day 60 is a race against the evil trucker. You know, that final boss that's barely even been mentioned the entire game. Turns out he's the family's long-lost evil brother Bob, who wants in on the competition, and you have to race him to the Big Mother Trucker's headquarters. It literally does not matter if you win or lose. Winning doesn't give you an edge over your siblings or net you a better ending. It just unlocks a cheat that lets you play as the evil trucker if you're dumb enough to play this pig shit again. So, mark that down as another problem with you Technics. Doesn't know how final bosses work! So my sum total reward for slogging through this garbage is an 8-second cutscene of someone else and a cold empty game over screen. Bite me! Big Mother Truckers is not as bad as Ride to Hell Retribution, but that's like saying that being stabbed in the gut isn't as bad as being shot in the head. That's not a compliment! All you do is drive a small course over and over and over, and surprise! Turns out it's actually a racing game without telling you, and if you don't take on all the races and win while doing a largely random block alternative main quest, you get screwed out of a good ending. All of which feels like small potatoes next to the fact that the driving is broken several times over, never feels intuitive or fun, and seems to run on chaos theory engines where the laws of physics will warp at random to perpetually sabotage you because the game hates your face. And if this is how Eutechnics does the genre that they self-proclaimed to specialize in, it is no friggin' wonder that when they tried to branch out and expand in Ride to Hell, the results were failure of legendary proportions. It's a comedy game with no actual jokes, it's a driving game where you can barely drive, and it's got a sequel? No! No! I refuse! I refuse! Fuck you!
Ladies touch baby, double dang damage.
Outlaws touch shady somewhere deep down in